Hey NBA fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today we have some fresh NBA news and rumors for you guys. We got 5 big ones today, including some interesting facts that surround how the Lakers went about essentially interviewing Dwight Howard for that new center position. Again, my name's Thomas Mott. Follow me on Twitter @RealThomasMott. Let's jump right in, starting with the Lakers rumor, the Lakers thought here on their signing of Joel Embiid. Listen to this. So, new details are coming out about what went down when the Lakers were actually interviewing Dwight Howard, who they, of course, signed last week. There were a lot of questions that they were asked to Dwight Howard, really trying to be thorough to make sure that they explored every single avenue to make sure he was willing to come to Los Angeles. Questions like, could you come off the bench? Are you committed to the team? What do you think of Anthony Davis? And then, a big one that is leaked to potentially be the big one that they asked Dwight Howard is, can you guard Joel Embiid? And the quote, we'll throw it up on the screen right now, saying, can we trust you to guard the likes of Joel Embiid? Oh, this is fascinating. All right, the Lakers in the Western Conference are thinking about adding a center after they lost to Boogie Cousins. And when they think about what they need in a center, they need him to be able to guard Joel Embiid, who's in the Eastern Conference for the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, they probably were meaning like, hey, Joel Embiid's the best out there. Can you guard someone like him? But apparently Dwight Howard agreed, said yes, he should be able to take Joel Embiid. Now with that being said, what's their head-to-head comparison? Because they have played 4 times against each other, and we'll throw it up on the screen right now. Embiid, 3-1. That means Dwight Howard 1-3, and you can see the points per game splits right there, 20 to Dwight Howard's 12. Basically double the rebounds and double the assists at the same time. So, can he guard a guy like Joel Embiid? Well, these numbers would tell you no, but if you actually look at them, only 20 points for Embiid is not exactly his peak, right? Joel Embiid can drop 30 on any given night. He can go for 30 and 15 and make the guy look silly. Dwight Howard has done a decent enough job guarding a guy like Joel Embiid, but I think it also goes to show what the Lakers are thinking about in terms of their Eastern Conference competition this year. It's not just, Giannis out there, or it's not Kyrie up in Brooklyn, or it's not the Boston Celtics. They're really focusing in on the Philadelphia 76ers and potentially being that team that comes out of the Eastern Conference. And whether or not Dwight Howard makes a massive difference in guarding any of those big centers is yet to be seen. But I thought it was interesting to share with you guys that they did their due diligence when trying to pick the right center. They were also looking at Joakim Noah, is what everyone is being told, is that Noah was the second choice behind Dwight Howard. But at the same time, the focus is on Joel Embiid, who I think many people consider the best center in the NBA when he is healthy. We'll see whenever they match up. Whenever the Sixers play the Lakers this season, what will it look like with Dwight Howard at center facing off against, again, one of the best centers in the NBA in Joel Embiid. Question for you guys here. Will Dwight Howard make a big impact on the Lakers this season? Like, will he actually be a factor that other teams are going to have to be, game planning for? Because they already have LeBron and they already have AD, and you got a game plan for both of those guys. But if Howard can actually become a big part of the Lakers' offense and defense, then you add kind of a 3-headed monster here, a twin tower type thing that they had with Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum back during the Kobe era. But at the same time, you'd be curious to see, is he just going to be a role player, just kind of a guy who's there, who mixes in with JaVale McGee, or is he actually going to make a big, big impact on the Lakers roster? Let me know what you guys think down below. Now let's go over to some of the news here today, and the big one out of the NBA up in Brooklyn is that Caris LeVert has signed a 3-year, $52.2 million extension with the Brooklyn Nets. Again, turns 25 years old on Sunday. He did miss 42 games last season with a dislocated ankle, but he was the Nets' leading scorer in the postseason, averaging about 13.7 points per game in 2018, 3.9 assists, about 42% from the field, and again, as you see on your screen, 31% from 3. The big news here is that the Nets core of LeVert, Durant, Irving, Jordan, and Dinwiddie is signed through the 2021-22 season, so they have time now, even if Durant misses the majority of this season, to have the entire core intact and make a run for it, not just this year, but next year and the year after that as well. Again, Caris LeVert, $52.2 million extension. It's a 3-year deal with the Brooklyn Nets. This next rumor is very interesting in terms of James Harden. So there are reports that James Harden is working on a new, and I'll quote here, one-legged running 3-point shot. Now, I don't actually know what that looks like, but apparently he's been doing a lot of pickup games at like LA Fitnesses or Lifetime Fitnesses and has been working on this move. And the report is it's not just a gimmicky pickup game move. He's actually going to try and use it in NBA games. Remember, James Harden led the league in scoring the past 2 seasons. So if he can add another offensive weapon, again, a one-legged running three-point shot. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but it sounds difficult and it sounds hard to defend. He's actually asked about it by ESPN, and Harden said, quote, "I'm always trying to be creative. I'm always trying to get better at basketball, life, business. I'm always trying to find a way to be impactful. With basketball, you have to be creative. It's my 11th year, and every single year I want to get better. I don't want to stay the same. You've got to find ways to keep growing." Okay, and then I guess a one-legged running three-point shot is the next evolvement or the next way to evolve for James Harden in his offensive game. Again, I don't really know how much more his offensive game can evolve, but at the same time, how much more can he evolve as a teammate and make his team better? Because the Houston Rockets, again, have struggled to get past the better teams in the Western Conference playoffs, and maybe it's due to Harden, maybe it's not, but I'll be curious to see what they look like this year as Harden has to figure out how to now share the basketball with a pretty ball-dominant point guard in Russell Westbrook. But heard it here first. Start trying this at home, or maybe don't try this at home. I don't know. Pick up inside the in the driveway. Work on your one-legged running three-point shots, but use caution because it sounds a little dangerous there. A question for you guys here: is Harden the best scorer in the league? There are a lot of good scorers. LeBron, obviously Durant. You talk about Giannis is a good scorer, not a good shooter overall. Westbrook, Irving. There are a ton of good scorers in the league. Who's the best? Is it Harden? Is it someone else? I would argue Durant, when healthy, is easily the best scorer in the NBA, but maybe you differ. Let me know in the comments down below. Speaking of James Harden, the guy who beat him out for MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's another former NBA player coming out saying that Giannis should not have won MVP. Remember last week, we talked about how Harden came out and said the media helped kind of create a narrative that got Giannis the MVP trophy. Well, Gilbert Arenas, who is the former Washington Wizard, had the whole issue in the locker room with the gun way back when. We won't get into it, but he talks a lot, and he mentioned in a quote that he is not a fan of Giannis winning the MVP. Here's the quote saying, quote, "I'm just going to be blunt. I don't think he should have won this year." All right, well, I mean, pretty blunt. That's fair. I think, half of the population probably agree that he should not have won because it was very split in terms of who thought Harden should win, who thought Giannis should win. But it's interesting that more and more players are starting to come out against Giannis. Like, where were all these guys when the MVP trophy was either first handed out or whenever we were a couple days away from the MVP being given to Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because it feels like, if I remember correctly, which it feels like it was a long time ago, the majority of people were on the team Giannis. Problem with this is we're all prisoners of the moment, and so during the moment we look back and we go, oh yeah, I'm watching Giannis on TV right now, oh man, he's dominating, oh yeah, he's so good. Then 3 months later, however long it's been, you go, oh wait, Harden's like a better shooter and he can shoot better and he might have scored more. We're prisoners of the moment. I think we were caught in the whole Giannis is really great, the next LeBron, the next great MVP caliber player. But at the same time, it's weird that you got to come out now and take shots at Giannis for winning MVP, even though it literally is not going to help and doesn't matter at all. But there's another one I thought I'd throw to you guys. Gilbert Arenas. Gotta be blunt. I don't think he should have won it this year. If Giannis, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, if Giannis extends his game, can start shooting better from 15 foot and behind, right? 15, 20, 25, whatever. If he can do that, then I don't think there's any debate that Giannis could win 2 more, 3 more MVPs and probably some NBA Finals MVPs as well. He's really that talented if he could just shoot a little bit better. Okay, another rumor starting to float around here is the possibility of the Thunder trading, I guess, their new guard, Chris Paul. CP3, of course, was traded from Houston to Oklahoma City in the Russell Westbrook swap, and it was thought originally that the Thunder were going to try and flip Chris Paul very, very quickly. Well, new reports from Brian Windhorst are saying that no, they are actually going to wait and kind of play their cards correctly and wait for someone to really offer them a solid deal. The whole panic mode trade, or the panic trade, was something that they talked about right whenever the trade happened, but it's looking like that's not going to be the case because obviously he's still on the squad. But Windhorst, again, talks about how they want to find somebody to actually give them a real offer for Chris Paul. Now, top 4 trade destinations right now that I'm hearing for Chris Paul, this is in no particular order: Heat, Mavericks, Pistons, Spurs are all teams that apparently either were interested in trading for Russell Westbrook or could actually have interest in Chris Paul himself. Again, we know the Heat were very interested in Russell Westbrook. We also know the Spurs were interested in Russell Westbrook as well, so it makes sense that they would want to go back out, maybe try the market for a different point guard. But the question now is, what is it going to take to actually move Chris Paul from Oklahoma City? Remember, he's still got like 3 years and $124 million left on his deal. So that right there is a very tough salary to acquire, may I just say that? I mean, that's why you can't put him on the Lakers, you can't put him on, the Warriors or some big name squad, because where are they going to have the money to spend 3 years, $124 million? That was always the problem with Chris Paul, is that the Houston Rockets gave him too much money, and he was already past the prime of his career, so you were getting twilight Chris Paul, or 80% Chris Paul, or basically always injured Chris Paul, and they were paying him too much money. So the fact that they swapped him for Westbrook makes a lot of sense, but now the question is, these teams are interested, yes, but what are they willing to give up? And are the Thunder trying to really get a king's ransom for a guy who's towards the end, if not at the end, of his point guard career? Ask you guys this: where will Chris Paul play in 2019? Will he start on the Thunder and then get close to trade deadline and be traded? Will he be traded beforehand? I think if I had to guess, and again, you guys weigh in down below, I think he'll start on the Thunder squad. I think we'll wait a little while. We'll see who's really needs a point guard, who really is going to have to make a big move for a point guard. That team will emerge, and then the trade will be done before the NBA trade deadline. Finally, here on the NBA news and rumors video, a lot of former NBA players. It feels like NBA offseason, all we're doing is finding the former legends of the game and sticking mics in their face and getting quotes. So, we have another quote for you, Dave, from a former NBA legend. See how that works out? So, Steve Nash, remember, who actually does soccer commentary now. He's a big soccer guy. He was doing it, I believe, during the World Cup, if I read that correctly. I've heard him doing soccer coverage before. Of course, he's a former, NBA excellent all-star point guard who was with the Phoenix Suns and then the Lakers. Well, he had to comment on a current Laker right now. Well, a currently injured Laker in Boogie Cousins, who of course tore his ACL a few years ago and is on a one-year deal with the LA Lakers. Steve Nash said in a quote, he shouldn't retire. He's still a young guy. He's a competitor. He's gone through a lot. He can do it because there are some speculation, some rumors floating around that it looked like DeMarcus Cousins could potentially be trying to retire after he rehabs from his ACL. Because again, his ACL will finish. He most likely, he could come back for the Lakers, but it'd be towards the very, very end. And is he going to be healthy and ready to go? What's Dwight Howard going to be doing? We're not sure if he's even going to play with the Lakers this season, is my point. Let's say he doesn't. He then comes back. He's a free agent, and now you have to go, okay, so I come off of an Achilles. I have the quad. I have the ACL, but still gave me some money. I want to play for your team. It just doesn't make sense. So it's very interesting to see if he's actually going to try and make a comeback. But at least he has the vote of confidence there from the former NBA great Steve Nash, who says, listen, don't retire, come on back, work through it. And I guess it makes sense, because if you're going to put the effort in to come back from the ACL, which is going to have to do anyway, right? The ACL rehab takes months. You might as well get back to a point where it's like, I worked hard for something, and that something is one more NBA contract and one more run at being the dominant center that I once was, because we forget. Even last year, he averaged 16 points per game, but at the same time, he was once one of the most dominant bigs in the entire league. And unfortunately, as it is, injuries have piled up, and here he is right now on a one-year deal, making very little money with the Lakers, and probably not playing this season, as he missed a lot of last season as well. There you go. All the time we have for today on our NBA news and rumors. Again, I'm very curious about the comments of where you guys think CP3 will go, who wins MVP this year, who's the best scorer in the league, and will Dwight Howard actually make a big impact on the Los Angeles Lakers guarding Joel Embiid, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Just let me know in the comments down below. I always read those, and I try to interact with you guys as well. Again, all the time we have for today. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.